Fireworks on Wall Street. The Dow closing above 17,000 for the first time ever. And sparks flying in the job market. The unemployment rate falling to 6.1% in June. Yet consumers not feeling all the love. Food prices spiking. Gas prices soaring. And wages barely budging. So are we all about to get burned again? Or are the boom times back? Hi, everyone. I'm Brenda Butner. This is Bulls and Bears. Here they are, our Bulls and Bears this week. We have Gary B. Smith, Tracy Burns, Jonas Max Ferris, John Layfield, along with David Mercer. Welcome to everybody. John, so Wall Street is partying. Is Main Street being left out of the party?
Yeah, at least for now. We're seeing jobs starting to come back, which is a wonderful sign. Now, we need a lot more. We still have one of the lowest labor force participation rates in over 30 years. So we still have structural high unemployment, which is significantly a problem going forward. And that's not going to be fixed with low interest rates. What low interest rates and the administrations and the Fed policies have done is they've greatly benefited the 1%. They've made the rich significantly richer. They've destroyed the middle class. Wealth is still being created. Look at WhatsApp. Look at Twitter, look at Facebook. There's being created, but it's not coming with jobs across the country. And with food inflation peaking, starting to ramp up, and gas prices being high going into summer, the consumer is being left out of this, and to them, it does not feel like a rally.
Right. David, do you think is the economy strong enough to keep the market going? Name some positive things about the economy.
Well, there are a lot of positive things in that last year in January, the unemployment rate was at 7.9%. We now have it at 6.1%. We have an average of 272,000 jobs having been created on average in the last 3 months. That's 600,000+ people that weren't working before that are now working. And if we keep this trend going, we'll see demand higher, we'll see companies hiring more, and we'll see what we're seeing on the stock market with the Dow hitting 17,000. So I think there's a lot of positive in the market, and we're seeing that reflected on Wall Street. And it's also happening in the pockets of right. Main Street as well. Although we need to address more, and increasing wages would be a good start, right. Albeit they've risen about 2% in the last year. Okay,
Gary B., is Wall Street really even looking is Main Street really even looking at Wall Street? I mean, we have the housing market, which still has no strong foundation. GDP contracted last quarter.
Exactly. I wonder if there was a Republican in the office, if David would, be so rosy about how the economy is doing, because let me offer a few rebuttals to what the left thinks is going on. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but you brought up a good point. We only have about half the population that's even involved in the stock market. So you got 50% of the people out there that haven't seen any benefit from this rise, and it has been a nice rise in the stock market. That's number one. Number two, David talked about the jobs being created. Unfortunately, a lot of those are A, part-time jobs, and B, the total unemployment rate, which includes the people that have just totally given up, has remained high. It's almost double what it was back in 2000. So you have all those factors plus housing. Housing, inflation adjusted, which is still people's biggest asset, is still below where it was in 2000. So all those people who bought homes since then have seen a loss in capital. I'd love to say the economy is great right now, but you pointed out the GDP just contracted, and you add all those other things. My gosh, unless you are, as John points out, part of that 1% heavily invested in the stock market, it's not all that great out there.
Jonas, what's your take on this? I mean, just looking at the market, we've gone 1,000 days without a correction. That's a long time.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the comparison to the best. Like, the NASDAQ's still below its peak of 2000. There was a bubble. I don't know if we're going to get to an inflation-adjusted peak in real estate like the bubble level we had. As far as the economy is good, but the stock market is better. And that's the risk in the stock market, is looking ahead a couple years. And right now, you're buying, when you pay $70,000 down, you're basically saying we're going into the 5% unemployment range. We're going to get wages to go up. We're going to get consumers spending more. We right now have the unemployment figure of when Dow blew through 15,000. So you're always kind of ahead, and that's what makes stocks risky. If we don't get that, if we have a recession in 2 years, that's when you see 20, 30% correction. So we have to deliver on the Dow's expectation of a good economy.
Tracy, Jonas makes a great point. And John did as well. Consumers, basically, they're paying more at the pump. They're paying more at the grocery store. That's less money to go into retail, and that kind of demand, that would essentially power the economy. We're not seeing that.
We're not. Although, you know, one of the Dow leaders from 16,000 to 17,000 was Disney. You could, you know, blame it all on Frozen and Elsa and that, but we don't have the extra cash, and I think part of the problem is, you know, go back a couple years when everyone was strapped. They didn't have extra money to put in this market and ride this run. So that's, I think, why there's so many people missing it, and the disconnect is still there, and sometimes it feels like it's getting even bigger. But if your hourly wages aren't going up, your daily expenses are, it's just so hard to save. And so because of that, you know, so many people keep missing this market because it is going to continue to go higher because the Fed is still pumping money in it, albeit tapering a bit, but the money is still coming. And as long as the Fed keeps pumping, the market will go up. And it is an unfortunate thing that so many people are missing it just because they don't have the extra cash at the end of the week.
And they're also a little bit scared, aren't they, John? I mean, they had a really tough time the last time the bubble burst in 2000.
Yeah, they are, and I think people are very aware of that. I think that's why a lot of people are not in the market, and that's why I think you see no conviction in the market itself. Look, this thing is trending upward. It's not just surging, but it's trending upward. It's been an incredible market, but it's trending up on not very high volume. So the people, I think, are worried about a lot of things going on, and you see the ECB decide to keep rates the same. That has a lot to do with what the market's doing right now, and that has nothing to do with the United States per se, the job market in the United States per se at all. What we're seeing is that you have the market look at the jobs and look at the administration and realize that, look, we have an administration there that can't get anything done. We have a Congress that absolutely hates each other. These guys are going to do nothing the next 2 years. And for the market, that's good.
Okay.
Well, Brenda,
David, go ahead.
If I might say
Yes.
that, you know, if you look at the jobs market, we have hundreds of thousands of people that now have jobs that in January didn't have jobs, and I'm sure they're a lot more confident in dealing with the pricing that's now in the consumer market than when they didn't have jobs. And we have to continue to create those jobs for additional people to be employed. At the same time, we have to raise wages, which is why you see a lot of states taking on the rise in minimum wage so that people can meet their demands.
David, that is not going to solve your problem. And first of all, the labor participation rate is still...
Jobs do solve a problem.
No, hold on, David. Increasing the minimum wage is not going to do it. The labor participation rate is still at 62.8%. That is what it was back in 1978. We were on gas lines back then. I remember it well. So if you don't get people back in this market, and I don't know where you're going to create these jobs from if the confidence isn't there. Raising the minimum wage is not going to make a difference at the end of the day. So that conversation goes nowhere.
Say that to the person that's making a minimum wage. Say that to a person who's not making but the minimum wage.
Okay, David,
guys, this minimum wage argument takes you completely away from any argument that is important right now. All it does is take away from the ineptness that is in Washington, D.C. right now. All you're talking about is low-paying jobs getting a little bit higher-paying jobs. We need real jobs, and you argue minimum wage because you don't have a jobs plan, you don't have a tax plan, an energy plan, nothing.
We need jobs in general, John, and that's what we're doing is creating those jobs.
David, hold on for a minute. Gary B., I want to bring up something that Tracy said as well, which is there is a real unemployment rate, which is, I think, at 12.1%. That counts all the part-timers, people who are too discouraged to look for jobs. That's still high.
Well, Brenda, back in 2000, it was 7%. I mean, that's a significant increase to go from 7% to 12%, despite, as David says, all these jobs being created. I mean, I'm baffled when, you know, the left in particular says this is a great economy. Don't we measure the economy by GDP? I think we do. And didn't that just contract? Now, people say, oh, my gosh, it was because of the bad weather. Now, hold on, let me finish. It was because of the bad weather. And then I'm saying, well, wait a second.
Okay.
Canada had bad weather, too. I mean, they had a cold winter, and their economy didn't detract. No, The reason it's in detract,
Yeah.
we talk about the government creating jobs. The government doesn't create jobs.
Okay,
We got to
okay.
get that out of our picture. John made the point. The government is interfering with jobs.
Gary.
If they do nothing, we'll be better off.
I know you're excited, and you can talk about this during the commercial, but we gotta go. We gotta pay our bills. Thanks, guys. Okay, a former CEO tapped to clean up the VA mess. Why the Cavuto gang is saying we need more guys like this to clean up all the mess in D.C. That's at the bottom of the hour, but up here first, imagine America going from this to this, because Russia's already working on it.